up everyone, I'm your female otaku and I'm here to review episode 14 of March Comes In Like a Lion. Well, before I get into the specific review of this episode, let me talk about something that a lot of you guys told me about with last week's episode. Remember how that whole awkward scene with Smith and him eating and stuff, and how it just didn't make sense to the rest of the story? Like, it didn't do anything to improve it, and the animation was really bad too and stuff. You know, that whole scene with Mr. Smith, turns out that was actually a reference to an old 1970s TV drama. And if I can find it, I'll leave the link in the description. I don't know if it's deleted by now, but if I can find it once again, I'll leave a link to the comparison video in the description, so yeah. Ray underestimated, or basically didn't pay any attention to his opponent, and that's how he lost. You know, I didn't expect this. I thought that once Ray realized his mistake, he would bounce back and then will verse Goto. That kind of seemed like a given, because that's how it always is, right? Sometimes this happens along the way, you know, when you have one more obstacle until you get to fight the big boss, maybe you're having a little trouble, but overall you jump over it or go around it or whatever, you know, you defeat the obstacle and then you battle the big boss. But no, that doesn't happen. And I was really surprised. Ray isn't going to verse Goto. Huh. I like that, actually. I respect that. That's an interesting move. Because this was being built up. Once we met Goto, the fate was sealed, right? I mean, it was even hyped up at the end of like episode 12. Remember when Ray, he told Momo that he's got a very important test and how this is the finals and how he's ready to beat Goto? You know, this was hyped up. But we're not gonna get to that. That's a bold move. I can understand some people being upset about this because, you know, it was built up and now we're not getting it. But I think that's a more realistic move and a smart one. And I'm proud of Shaft for that. Ray completely neglects his opponent. He was just, you know, so focused on Goto and, you know, has a personal grudge on him that he ignored the fact that his opponent is also a rank A player. And it was too late. Once Ray realized where he was at, he could not bounce back. Damn, man. That sucked. No matter what happened, even during the review, when Ray was trying to figure out like how he could bounce back, he couldn't. No matter what he did, there was no way he could win. He was trapped. Later on in the episode, Ray, we find out that leading up to this match, he hasn't been eating or drinking, so what he's been doing now is just sleeping. And then when he finally woke up, he was really dehydrated. So he drank a lot of water, but still he ended up throwing it up in the end. You know, his diet is just all over the place, the poor kid. And then he starts looking at job magazines, and I'm just like, what are you do? Are you gonna give up on Shogi? But Shogi is all you have. And it really is, because in the end, most of the jobs required at least a high school diploma, because I don't know if any of you guys, well, I don't know how many of you guys know this, but it's not a requirement to go to high school in Japan. It's a requirement to go to middle school, but then like in middle school, this is when you take like placement tests to get into other schools across, like other high schools across Japan. And then of course, you know, college and university is an option as well, but it's not mandatory to go to high school. And if you remember Ray, he originally wasn't planning on going over to high school, but then decided to last minute. And so now he realizes that he has to graduate from high school. And he realizes that he's also, you know, since he's at a risky spot because he hasn't been going to school, so he decides to go back because, you know, his attendance record isn't exactly the best at the moment. And he's thrown through a wild loop when it came to gym class. And then he was just eating alone on the staircase. His food tasted bland. He was just depressed. And then the teacher comes up, and I'm so happy with the teacher. It's great when he's here. You know, he knows exactly what to say to Ray, even if what he says is a little ridiculous from time to time. Still, it's what Ray needs to hear. Because the teacher is concerned for Ray. I don't remember the teacher's name, but the teacher is just all like, hey, maybe you should join a workshop. even though Ray is a professional at shogi, maybe he can get better if he joins a workshop. And I understand why Ray kept on saying, but, because like I was in that exact same situation once. A little backstory if you do not mind. You see, back over in sophomore year of high school, I was 16, and this was in the winter of 2014, I believe, yeah. Winter of 2014. At the time I wanted to be a film director. You know, now I want to be, you know, obviously a pro YouTuber and, you know, somewhat of an editor, you could say, because I love editing more now. But at the time, I wanted to be a film director. And I've been making YouTube videos on my separate YouTube channel called Ivy Vega 8, where I made like films using dolls. And everyone always has said how talented I was, and I was like, yeah, best, yeah, no one can beat me, no one's like me around my age and stuff where they can do all this. And my parents wanted to put me in a workshop over at NYU, New York University, to get better at editing and, you know, filming and things like that, but I didn't want to. It was gonna be like a 12-week program with other people who were probably not as good as me. So I was just like, no, I didn't wanna do this. But in the end, I decided, why not? I might get something out of this, because this is supposed to be one of the greatest universities in the country. So maybe I can get something out of this. And what do you know? I made it into the workshop, and now I learned quite a few skills that I still use today when editing my reviews and ranking videos, and I have that workshop to thank for. So yeah, Ray's probably most likely going to join the workshop. No ifs, ands, or buts. And I'm proud of him and the teacher. Teacher's awesome, man. Even Nikaido and his bro, which turns out that actually isn't his brother. Thank you for confirming that for me last week, guys. But the opponent that Ray faced, they want him to join the workshop too. So maybe Ray will make some more friends and he'll get better at shogi, and I guess we gotta wait for another shogi tournament or something so that maybe Ray could verse Goto. I don't really know. And that was this episode. Let me know your thoughts on it and catch me later as I review Demi-chan. I'm your female otaku, sayonara.